Hey guys, it's Ethan. I see a lot of people that are new to Gentoo, they have trouble getting Xorg set up, so I'd like to show you guys how to do it. With OpenRC, it differs from what people are used to when they use something like systemd, and because you have to set your own custom use flags, people just get confused and they get frustrated because things aren't working. So first of all, in your kernel, you see you can use make menu config. You gotta move down to device drivers. Make your way over to input devices. There it is, missed it. Input devices, and you need event interface enabled. And then you have to go down to graphics drivers. And you need to make sure that if you're using NVIDIA and you plan to use the proprietary driver, get rid of this. Basically, just get rid of anything that you aren't using. See, I'm using VirtIO graphics driver, so that's what I'm going for. For frame buffer devices, disable everything except for EFI based, but only if you're using EFI. If you're using legacy BIOS, then disable this as well. And then finally, down at console display driver support, make sure that frame buffer console support is enabled. And then you can go ahead and save your kernel and recompile it. I don't have to make any changes because my kernel's already been configured for this. So now we're going to move on to edit our etc portage make.conf, and we need to set a couple flags, so we'll come back here later, but right now we're just going to set minus wayland, and we're going to set x. And we're basically just saying compile everything for X display server and don't compile for Wayland, which is definitely what we want in this case. And now, wherever you want to, just get a line and call it input underscore devices in all caps, and then add in lib input in synaptics, and then make one more line, video cards equal, and if you're using NVIDIA, you can just go ahead and add NVIDIA. You can add as many here as you want as long as you have your target driver. So if for some reason you need to add like Intel's or like Radeon or something, you can add them. It isn't gonna break support for NVIDIA or anything. Just make sure that you have the one that you're using in there. And then now it's time to emerge Xorg-X11. Now this is a giant package, it's like 100 something packages included in this, so if you want in this case just to do Xorg-server and Xorg-drivers, that's like the minimal that you can do. It's probably better for this anyways. So now you can see over here that it's telling us, I don't know if you can see this, but it's saying that it can't get the pull kit for us until we decide if we're using elognd, console kit, or systemd, which is over here. So before we emerge our drivers, if you have this problem, which isn't really a problem, it's just kind of part of it, we're gonna add a couple use flags. So we're gonna edit our portage make.conf, and we need to add a few use flags. So first of all, assuming that you're using like a standard Gentoo installation with OpenRC, we're gonna set systemd. We're gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna get rid of console kit because it's been deprecated, and we're gonna add elognd. And we're gonna go ahead and save that. Actually, we need to add one more thing. We need to also add, for the sake of being able to use input, dbus. Okay, now we're gonna go back to our kernel before we do anything here. Then we have to check under general setup if control group support has been compiled into your kernel. Right here, control group support, all good. And then also under file systems, this usually comes by default as well. You need to find notify support for user space. See, that's also enabled by default, so nothing to change here. And now we're gonna do doas emerge. I guess if you don't have doas, you don't need to run that, but -aqv, no, you want to do au qv dn at world, and it's going to ask us to make some changes to our configuration file, and I'll show you how to do that as well. So you can see the use changes down here is just saying that we need to add sys, or not, devlang python, we need to add that use flag. So we're going to do dispatch-conf, and it's going to tell us for the file zz auto unmask it wants to make these changes. That's fine. Let's go ahead and use new, and then run this emerge command one more time. And you can see all of these different programs that need to be recompiled because of these new use flags, the dbus and elog and d and x and all that. So go ahead and let that emerge. It's going to be quite a few, and I'll get back to you when that's done. Alright, so we've just updated our world, and we've added in dbus and elog and d. So all of that is set up, but now we're going to want to start these services on boot. So you can do rc update add dbus default to add dbus, and then do as rc update add elog and d to boot. And if you want to start them now, you can also do rc service elog and d start and rc service dbus start. So it looks like dbus is already started. Anyways, so we've got that out of the way. So we can get now, we can emerge Xorg. I'm just going to do Xorg server since I don't have a lot of time to waste on emerging everything, and Xorg drivers, but it's still going to be a few packages regardless. If you ever have problems, emerge the entire thing. So it's asking for some use changes, so you can do dispatch conf. And just to check, these are exclusively interacting with auto unmask, so I'm fine with that. And we can go ahead and emerge them. Wow, that's a lot of packages. Alright, so I'll get back to you when 88 packages just for the drivers and the server are all done. Alright, so we're back. We just got done emerging Xorg server and Xorg driver. That took a really long time. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run env update, and then we're going to source our etc profile. And now that we've gotten everything set up, we need to make a .xinitrc. So this is the xinit system. I guess that's kind of obvious, but this is basically just how you start things upon running start x. So if you're not going to use a display manager, then you're going to want this. So we're going to put in this command, which is xrdb-merge home x resources. And the reason we do this is because when we start editing our x resources, the changes aren't going to stay cohesive unless we add this so that it merges our x resources upon starting x. And then we're going to write exec dbus-launch to run dbus sh syntax to start. I guess that's just kind of how it is. That's just what I've always done. And then you can just put whatever you want to start. You can put like i3 window manager, you could put like bspwm, but in this case we're actually gonna put home scripts start DWM. And this is specifically for DWM. This is taken off of the Arch wiki, but we're gonna go ahead and make the script now. So scripts start DWM. My pop filter is sliding, hold on. This is a terrible pop filter, it just slides. Anyways, so in this script we're gonna write while true do, we're gonna do a couple spaces, log stder, like a error, right, to a file. This is just a comment, dwm to home/dwm.log. This is just saying this is where the log should go. And we're gonna put another comment, which is no error logging. And then we're gonna put this, which is actually the starting DWM thing. And the reason we're making this little script, because it isn't exactly necessary to use DWM, but when you make a change to the binary, you normally have to restart X. But using this, when you use the close, like the kill X hotkey, it just refreshes X, or it refreshes DWM basically without closing your windows. So now we're going to go ahead and emerge DWM, ST, and D menu. And I'll be talking more about like the configuration of these later. 1 second, so we get to go back to our scripts folder. We forgot to make this executable, chmod plus x start DWM. Okay, so now if we start x, there we go. So here's x. You can see because we have dbus, everything is working. We can move the mouse around. We have all of this set up, and oh, I didn't emerge xrender. We probably also want xrender to change the resolution, but that's unrelated to this video's topic. So anyways, you can see that's the basic configuration and setup of getting Xorg working. This should, if you did everything correctly, this should work for whatever window manager or desktop environment that you want to use. And if you're using DWM and you have multiple displays, it's a little bit trickier to get xrender to work and have multiple displays, but I'll be covering that at a different time. So anyways, that's all from me. See you guys later. Bye bye.